Good afternoon and thanks for joining us on Nationwide. We are live on the network service of the NTA. I'm Hawa Salihu Adama. We start with diplomatic matters today. The federal government has renewed its appeal to Nigerians who are angered by the xenophobic attacks on their compatriots in South Africa not to engage in negative reactions. Their appeal is contained in a media briefing by the Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed in Abuja. Let's now join Anthony Forsen for details.
Explaining the federal government's position on the matter as it is being pursued by President Muhammadu Buhari, the Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed said measures have been taken to decisively tackle the xenophobic attacks against Nigerians in South Africa, and to this end, Nigerians back home should exercise restraints.
The federal government will leave no stone unturned to protect Nigerian citizens anywhere around the world, including South Africa, where they've been subjected to repeated xenophobic attacks with terrible consequences that include loss of lives and property.
Lai Mohammed also used the opportunity to alert Nigerians on how fake news is fueling the urge for reprisals through the circulation on social media, video clips purportedly showing how Nigerians are being killed in that country.
We also want Nigerians to know that wrong videos and disinformation are being circulated on social media to inflame passion and distort the plight of Nigerians in South Africa. Nigerians should be wary of the purveyors of these wrong videos. They might not even be Nigerians. We strongly warn hoodlums who may wish to hide under the peaceful protests by Nigerians to loot, maim, and kill, that the security agencies will apprehend and bring them to justice.
The minister, while restating the need for calm and allow the federal government handle the matter, said a high security alert has been put in place to forestall any attempt by hoodlums to embark on a looting spree, which is counterproductive because such businesses belong to Nigerians and provide job opportunity for Nigerians as well. In Abuja, Anthony Forsen, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the House Committee on Foreign Affairs has urged the South African President Cyril Ramaphosa to take further steps and ensure that those responsible for the attacks on Nigerians are prosecuted. Chairman of the committee, Yusuf Baba, says the National Assembly, in collaboration with federal government, is exploring diplomatic means towards addressing issues on xenophobic attacks on Nigerians and other nationals resident in South Africa.
And are reaching out to the Nigerian authorities at home and in the Republic of South Africa. The government in Nigeria today is a responsible government, and the Nigerian Parliament has already moved into action. The Speaker of the Nigerian House of Representatives, Honorable Femi Bajaber-Mila, have already ordered that a strong delegation from the Parliament go to South Africa, and investigations should commence in earnest. And these investigations will leave no stone unturned. We will make sure that if need be, we review our foreign policies. And we also want to call on the South African government to up its game.
He also explained that Nigeria is soliciting international support to deal conclusively with the issues and urged Nigerians not to retaliate as government is working to ensure that losses are adequately compensated. In the wake of incessant xenophobic attacks in South Africa, the federal government is working hard to ensure protection of lives and property of Nigerians in that country. And with the recent killings of Nigerians in South Africa, the federal government has made it clear that it will address the unfortunate turn of events and make sure that the South African government answers for actions against Nigerian citizens resident in that country. This was central as guests deliberated on NTA's News and Current Affairs program, Good Morning Nigeria. Let's now join Abdul Karim Mohammed Zurmi for more.
There are quite a lot of businesses, legitimate businesses, that are being affected by this situation. And this has implications, first, for the livelihood of those who are involved in this business. It's affecting our exports. And semi-border is one of the biggest sources of revenue in terms of land border for government.
We sincerely apologize. We cannot continue with that report due to the audio challenge. Moving on now, as a meeting of representatives from different ethnic groups in Nigeria has called on traditional institutions to play a more active role in fostering unity and social cohesion. This was at a seminar put together by a group focused on contemporary issues confronting Nigeria. Let's now join Elizabeth Omori for reports.
Nigeria, the most populous country in Africa, with multiple ethnic groups, blessed with diverse cultures and languages, was amalgamated in 1914, and the unification brought together different tribes to become one entity. Though brought together by circumstances infused by newly formed spirit of camaraderie, an almost palpable feeling of division lingered. And while this persisted, it gradually birthed confrontations and, in some cases, violence. Groups like the indigenous people of Nigeria understand that ethnic division is still a clear and present problem in Nigeria. And in this seminar holding in Abuja, delegates are hoping to chart a way forward, one which will give traditional institutions a role in promoting social cohesion.
We should mediate among ourselves. We should get to know our root, and you'll be surprised that we are really one.
We have to do our part as citizens of this country to make sure that, the country does not disintegrate and that our communities survive. And part of that survival is the need, of course, to stop social evils such as kidnapping, such as banditry, such as violence and criminality.
As custodians of culture and tradition, these delegates advocated tolerance for each other's culture and religion. This, they say, will go a long way in fostering peaceful coexistence.
Our people have their own culture that forbid stealing, forbid killing.
Living together is good, and abiding by the law as far as the herders and farmers is concerned remains our best platform of mutual coexistence, because it provides a win-win situation for both parties.
They, however, urged Nigerians to look beyond ethnicity and embrace dialogue as the only option to solving ethnic crisis and building one Nigeria. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
And the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, says over $200,000, 615 euros and more than 75,000 pounds are to be recovered from 7 suspected internet fraudsters already arrested. This follows a collaborative effort of the Commission and other international law enforcement agencies in tracking cybercrime in the south zone of the country. Clement Barikwi covered a media briefing on this and the Akwa Ibom State capital.
The Deputy Zonal Head of the EFCC, Alex Eba, says a breakdown of cases reported to the Commission in Uyo Zonal Office through mutual legal assistance by international law enforcement agencies include 5 cases from Hong Kong police, 5 from Norwegian police, 4 from Israeli police, 3 from Australia police, while 20 internet frauds were received from the America's Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI. Within the period under review, the Commission, he said, made 60 arrests, 37 convictions, and recovered a number of exotic cars and properties suspected to have been acquired through the proceeds of crime, including a 5-bedroom duplex in Calabar. Deputy Zonal Head of EFCC, while assuring of a sustained synergy between the Commission and FBI in the fight against cybercrime and other related offences, however, called for cooperation from members of the public.
This commission has gone very far in trying to ensure that these perpetrators will find this place uneasy for them. So we all must stand up.
The EFCC, Alex Eba says, has gone beyond conviction to prevention of cybercrime through aggressive campaigns in line with the anti-corruption war of the federal government. In Uyo, Clement Barakui, NTA News.
And it's now time for us to join Hingino in our Lagos Network Center for more reports from that zone. Good to see you, Hingino.
Thank you, Hawa, and welcome to Lagos. The Indian naval warship Takash has arrived Nigeria. Annie Daniels reports that it is part of activities to strengthen the nation's bilateral ties with Nigeria.
The Indian naval warship Takash battered at the Nigerian Ports Authority jetty in Lagos with more than 100 officers on board. On ground to welcome the ship and her crew members were officers of the Nigerian Navy, the media and some Indian nationals resident in Lagos. The officer commanding INS Takash, Captain Satis Vasudha, says the visit is to mark the 60th anniversary of Indo-Nigerian diplomatic ties, as well as gain more knowledge from the Nigerian Navy.
The last time in the Nigerian Navy Day in 2017, the same ship had come here to celebrate. So you can imagine the deep relations coming all the way from India. Personally, I have been involved in a lot of training with the Nigerian officers. Some of them are very brilliant, I must tell you, and it's an honor to come back to this country.
Afterwards, the crew paid a visit to the flag officer commanding Western Naval Command, Rear Admiral Oladele Bamidele Daji, who assured the Indian Navy of Nigeria's commitment to upholding the long-lasting relationship between Nigeria and India.
We are very important and strategic partners, not just only at the bilateral level, but also at the Commonwealth and also at the global stage at the United Nations. And whatever issues arose were solved and resolved amicably.
Both navies exchanged flags as a sign of appreciation. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
Away from security now, to overcome the challenges of national development, government at all levels, corporate bodies and private individuals must embrace research and innovation as part of their strategy. Minister for Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, and Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, both gave this position at the first research fair organized by the Lagos State University, LASU. Nusa Osula reports.
Research and innovation is critical to the development of any nation. According to experts, the main purpose of research is to inform action, to prove a theory, and contribute to a developing knowledge in a field of study. The Minister for Works and Housing, who called for intense research to be conducted and published on every sector of the economy, explained that research can help provide solutions to the killings, banditry, and other forms of insecurity in the country.
Research and learning is an unending thing. You learn every day. And if you develop the mindset to learn as against the mindset to expect miracles, you will question things, you will probe them, you will test them, and you will perhaps then be able to verify and get more informed data about how to proceed.
Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who was represented by his special advisor on education, Tokunbo Wahab, in a message described research as a critical element in the process of innovation, national development, and economic growth.
I would like the university to propose solutions based to the 6 pillars of our developmental agenda.
What you have started today is a conversation between the academic community, the industry, and government.
The special advisor on education, Tokunbo Wahab, also inaugurated a 500-capacity CBT center built with the support of the private sector and aimed at providing a conducive research environment for all. In Lagos, Nosa Osula, NTA News.
A suspect arrested by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency for an illegal ingestion of illicit substance has excreted 79 wraps of methamphetamine after thorough medical examination. Commander NDLEA Murtala Mohammed International Airport Command Amadou Garba, at an exclusive interview, said the last wrap was extracted through an operation. That report will be brought to you in our subsequent bulletin. That's our contribution from Lagos Nationwide continues after this commercial break.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous, whether you do it for fun or for political gains. Real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
Their ancestors were taken away as slaves. Now they return as kings and queens on a pilgrimage back to the motherland. The third door of return ceremony, Diaspora Festival, Badagry, Lagos, Nigeria, takes place in Badagry from the 15th to the 20th of October 2019. For details on participation and sponsorship, contact the following. Website adore.ng. The African Door of Return Experience. Don't miss it. Brought to you by the African Door of Return Experience Initiative in collaboration with the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission and the African Renaissance Foundation. Chief host, the Lagos State Government.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online, or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rich.
Get the latest news and updates from across Nigeria on NTA Nationwide. NTA Nationwide, weekdays by 4 p.m. Get it first. Get it fresh.
Thanks for rejoining us. Moving on. Stakeholders from Benue and Taraba states have resolved that there should be immediate cessation of hostilities between the Tiv and Jukun ethnic groups in Taraba state to pave way for peace-building efforts. This was part of a communique issued at the end of the peace meeting in Abuja, coordinated by Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, towards resolving the lingering crisis. The meeting also resolved that the governors of Borno and Taraba states should make strong pronouncements condemning the crisis and also visit the affected communities as a confidence-building measure. It was also agreed that there should be massive deployment of security forces for intensive patrol and surveillance of the affected communities to checkmate the excesses of criminals and enforce law and order on the border corridors of Taraba and Benue states. We will bring you more details in our subsequent bulletins. The Oyo State 2019 revised budget of 182 billion naira has been signed into law by Governor Seyi Makinde. Correspondent Ayomiku Ajibola completes the report.
The revised budget of the 2019 Appropriation Act at the tune of 285 billion was earlier signed in the first quarter of the year by the immediate past administration. Governor Makinde explained that the previous budget size presented by the past administration was unrealistic and did not fall in line with the roadmap for sustainable development of the state.
If we're realistic to ourselves, if we're open to ourselves, we will achieve the objective of a prosperous Oyo State.
According to him, if his administration continued with the old budget as passed by the 8th Assembly, the performance that could be achieved on the budget would be between 25 and 38%. He commended the legislator for cutting short their recess to work on the budget and pass it in record time. About 103 billion naira was cut off from the 2019 budget for the revised 2019 budget, with an upward review of the budget on education to 10%. In Ibadan, Ayomiku Ajibola, NTA News.
And the partial closure of borders in the country has been received with mixed reactions. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria, while addressing the issue, insist that the decision is in good faith, as it will help mitigate trans-border crimes in those corridors and curtail smuggling activities. The residents in those regions are, however, bemoaning the impact of the closure on their businesses, citing that revenue is just as important as matters of security.
Legitimate businesses that are being affected by this situation. And this has implications, first, for the livelihood of those who are involved in this business. It's affecting our exports. And semi-border is one of the biggest sources of revenue in terms of land border for government.
Experts, however, maintain that the federal government's resolution on border security will eventually have multiplier effects on the economy, as the stoppage of illegal entry of imported goods and assorted food items across the border will go a long way in promoting made-in-Nigeria products and creating jobs for Nigerians.
Office of the National Security Advisor is taking stock of all these records, all these reports, observations, intelligence that is flowing in, and making analysis of it. Going forward, certain appropriate decisions will be taken to better secure our borders.
The balancing act here, if you ask me, would be that will result in a decision or resolution that one would need to be alive before you do business. So security takes an upper hand.
And it's now time to join Suleiman in our Kaduna Network Center. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Hawa, and welcome to the Center of Learning. Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has recovered the sum of $314 million, in addition to 373 million naira from internet fraudsters across the Northwest Zone. The zonal head of the commission, Yakub Melafia, disclosed this in Kaduna. Abdullah Muhammad has the details.
The recovery of cash and frustration of attempts by fraudsters to hack into the operational systems of banks, according to the zonal head, was sequel to a collaboration between the Commission and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. This, he said, has also led to the arrest of one of the fraudsters in the FBI list in Kaduna. Mr. Melafia further explained that the Kaduna office of the Commission has, prior to the collaboration with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, launched a sting operation where it arrested 48 internet fraudsters while securing the conviction of 23. He emphasized that the operation also led to the recovery of cash amounting to about 199 million naira plus $48,000.
The zone, from January to date, received 345 petitions. 286 were considered for investigation. 52 have been forwarded to the legal department, while 56 cases are in court.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Mr. Melafia, say, is open to the public with respect to the fight against corruption. He therefore urged Nigerians to feed the Commission with reliable information to break the cycle of economic and financial crimes. In Kaduna, Abdullah Muhammad, NTA News.
And Kano State Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has intensified raid and seizure of illicit drugs as part of the command's efforts at preventing narcotic substances from reaching the end users. This led to the seizure of 500 kilograms of illicit drugs. Fatima Sanusi reports that these efforts have brought down the level of drug abuse in the state by 10%.
According to records available, the significant reduction in drug abuse across the state signifies a fall in both demand and sale of this banned substance. The command attributed the reduction in the use of illicit drugs to the sustained raid operations by Joint Task Force and continued capacity building programs embarked upon by the command. The month under review marked a sustained raid operations conducted in some local government areas of Kano State, where 333 kilograms of cannabis sativa, 167 psychotropic substance, 0.05 grams of cocaine, and 2 grams of khat were seized.
The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency Kano Command has recorded a lot of successes in the area of dismantling a drug joint within Kano metropolis and its environs, which led to the apprehension of 140 drug criminals with different types of crimes.
Despite the sharp decline in the psychotropic substance abuse and trafficking, the fight against drug abuse is the responsibility of all. In Kano, Fatima Sanusi Araye, NTA News.
Pressing on the multi-billion naira Kaduna Eastern Bypass project, Ahmad Umar Kuda reports on the socio-economic advantages of the project, which is now built for completion in 2020.
Concerns about the increasing volume of traffic congestion in Kaduna metropolis, often aggravated by vehicles crisscrossing through and from various parts of the country, necessitated the award of the contract for the Eastern Bypass in 2002. It is a 48-kilometer dual carriageway initially awarded at a cost of 16 billion naira to ease the recurring gridlock within the metropolis and to congest Kaduna Zaria Highway. As of 2015, only 16 kilometers from Abuja Junction overhead bridge to Marbarudu was completed, representing 30% of the project. Work resumed in 2017 following the review of the contract by Federal Executive Council and the approval of additional cost of 22 billion naira for its completion to link up with Kaduna Zaria Road at a junction near Dankande. Now federal government has provided enough funds under Scook for the completion of the project, hence the appreciable level of progress.
We owe the contractor nothing. We have paid him, and we have a lot of money lying low for them to assess. Of course, we can't pay them without work, but they are working too.
Aside reducing traffic congestion, the project has socio-economic benefits as housing estate and other developmental structures have started springing up in the area.
Transport will be easier and all these cars will not be spoiling area. The poor people, they can go to market with the goods in other way to get something that they can help themselves.
The road project, which initially was for a 3-year completion period, will now be completed after 18 years in 2020. In Kaduna, Ahmad Umar Kudan, NTA News.
That is our package from Kaduna Network Center. Nationwide continues with Hawa in Abuja. Good afternoon.
Many thanks, Suleiman. And now to the environment and climate change. Heavy rains early Thursday morning resulted in flood in parts of Nasarawa State, claimed lives, destroyed property and cut off linkages between some communities. Hamza Musa Makarfi reports that in Lafia, one person was found dead along the bank of Amber River as two persons crossing the river were overpowered by flood.
Well, this is Amber River dividing the communities of Lafia and Doma local government area. Farmlands here and houses have also been submerged. We understand that this is about the worst that has happened in this part of the country. Many people have not seen this before, and that's why it's like a festival to them to come and have a first-hand experience about this natural occurrence.
We have nothing to do about frontiering the government because we have a meager resources that cannot do anything about it.
Up to now, I cannot get to my office. This is sad. This is sad. This is a sad day in Nasarawa State, especially for us that stay in 500 housing estate and for our brothers that come from Doma.
Governor Abdullah Islay was here to assess the extent to which this has affected this part of the state. We do also know that in other local government areas, how these property farmlands have actually been destroyed by the flood. I am Hamza Musa Makaripi, NTA News.
Meanwhile, residents of Makurdi, the Benue state capital, especially those at the bank of the river Benue, are in apprehension as the volume of the water continues to rise. The State Commissioner for Water Resources and Environment, who says the government is monitoring the development, affirms that the current level is close to that of 2012 that submerged many homes and farmlands.
Following the persistent downpour at the upper Benue, the volume of water at the river Benue has maintained a steady rise well above the 10 meters, which is the burst level.
At the moment, as the water continues to surge, it gives signals to people living close to the river Benue that disaster is in the offing.
Magaji Loko, who carries out sand excavation business at the banks of the river, explains that the upsurge has not only hampered various activities, but it has become a threat to residents.
Ending of the August, because the water is there. Then they walk there, then they pursue, come small. Now they reach here. Water they call anytime, in the night, in the afternoon, in the morning.
The boats that you are seeing here at the moment are at the premises of the National Inland Waterways Authority Area Office, Makurdi. The level of the river Benue at the moment is beginning to threaten the office, and that is why something needs to be done quickly to ensure that the office is not sacked.
Commissioner for Water Resources and Environment, Dondo Ahiri, who described the current level as alarming, calls on residents of various areas affected by the 2012 flooding to vacate immediately.
It's as high as the level we had in 2012. So it portends a lot of danger for residents who are living in flood-prone areas.
He further said that the situation would be worsened if water from the Lagdo Dam in Cameroon is released. In Makurdi, Charles Abba, NTA News.
And motorists plying the Sokoto-Gusau Federal Highway have expressed concern over the delay in the ongoing work for the replacement of two substandard bridges on the ever-busy road. Haliru Muhammad Umar reports that the project, which ought to have been completed since April 2018, is now static.
Contract for the replacement of narrow bridges along Sokoto-Gusau Zaria Road was awarded by the present administration of President Muhammadu Buhari in May 2017, with a view to ending carnages and insecurity that have bedeviled the routes over the years. The bridges, with 45-meter length and 11-meter width each, located at Kadauri and Mayanchi communities in Maru local government area of Zamfara State, were awarded at the cost of more than 986 million naira with 12 months completion period. More than 2 years now, the project is, however, yet to be completed. Some motorists who spoke with NTA News expressed concern over the delay in completing the project, saying the trend constitutes a great danger to commuters plying the road. The Emir of Marubanaga, Alhaji Abubakar Megari, who reiterated the gratitude of his subjects to the federal government over the project, however, appealed for its speedy completion to improve the safety of commuters plying the ever-busy road. The Federal Controller of Works, Zamfara State, Hassan Muhammad, who said the two bridges have averagely reached 70% stage of completion, advances reason for the delay in the completion of the project.
It's because of the insurgents in this state. Most of the contractors' workers left because of fear of attack and kidnapping. So now that the security has tremendously improved in the state, most of the workers are returning back to work. So in a very short time, the contractor will mobilize full force and work will continue.
The project is now built to be completed in December 2019. In Gusau, Halliru Muhammad Umar, NTA News.
And there has been a growing concern on the activities of vandals at the existing Niger Bridge. Austin Edemodu reports that some parts of the bridge now pose serious danger to road users.
Since 1965, the first Niger Bridge has remained a catalyst for socio-economic growth and development in southern parts of the country and Nigeria at large. Over time, there has been several efforts to rehabilitate the aging bridge. However, these efforts are being hampered by the activities of vandals. This is the mark left behind by vandals on the first Niger Bridge. There has been increasing fear and anxiety over the dangers posed by this situation.
As I look at that bridge now, that place that got is very, very bad. It's having a lot of cars.
Aside that, some of the boats on the superstructure of the bridge have been removed. This is no doubt a worrying situation, according to the Federal Controller of Works, Anambra State, Ademo Ajani.
If you lose both and not in the structure, you are weakening the structure. So, eventually collapse, but there are a lot of factors that have been put in place, safety factors that at least is still keeping the bridge in place. But the public needs to be sensitized to tell them the implication of vandalization of such thing.
Though the bridge is still under rehabilitation, there is need for adequate security to safeguard such a critical infrastructure as Nigerians await the delivery of the second Niger Bridge. Austin Edemodu, NTA News.
And still on bridges, this time on the second Niger Bridge, work on the bridge is said to be progressing. And again, let's join Austin Edemodu for an update.
This is the fabrication yard where reinforcements for the structural members of the second Niger Bridge is being carried out by workers on site. This follows the successful installation of all the piers of the bridge from the Asaba to Onitsha ends of the project.
There is no doubt that there is intensive work going on here at the second Niger Bridge. I'm standing right here on the platform for the incremental launching of the superstructure of the second Niger Bridge.
The Federal Controller of Works, Anambra State, Ademo Ajayi, is optimistic that irrespective of the rising water level, the superstructure of the second Niger Bridge will be launched soonest.
We have 3 other smaller bridges. We call it the secondary bridges. One in Delta and then the other 2 in Anambra State. One of the 2 in Anambra State is the interchange, Owerri interchange at Obosi. So right now we are at the platform where we are going to launch the superstructure of the second Niger Bridge in some few days to come.
The main bridge with 3 lanes dual carriage highway is 1.6 kilometers in length, while the project length is 11.9 kilometers. Earthwork is ongoing as well on the 3 kilometers access routes from the Asaba end to Obusi interchange in Anambra State.
The second bridge is going on, really. Well, should we say we be Okada people? We are going to carry people, like the workers going there. We are seeing everything what is happening there. So nobody say, some people say they're not ready, we are doing more money.
With all the necessary funds and compensations already in place, the Controller of Works believes that the second Niger Bridge project will be delivered in 42 months' time. I'm Austin Edemodu, NTA News.
Thanks, Austin. And to health matters now, primary health caregivers and stakeholders in the nation's health sector are in Abuja to review the impact of the Nigeria State Health Investment Program, NSHIP, a project of the federal government with credit support from the World Bank. This is aimed at ensuring the sustenance of the program as it officially winds down in June 2020. Over now to Elizabeth Omori.
As critical stakeholders in the health sector join forces to reduce maternal mortality, control the spread of diseases, and promote reproductive health through the NSHIP program since 2011, key players in the sector have recorded significant gains. Statistics by the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency reveals that states such as Adamawa, Nasarawa, and Ondo have benefited from the scheme. The impact of the initiative in Adamawa during the insurgency informed the adoption of the approach.
We want to leverage on existing financing opportunities, particularly the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, and increase funding from the states and local governments to continue implementing the performance-based financing option of delivering healthcare services, which has proved so effective and has improved the landscape in those PAC landscape in those states where they are being implemented.
To sustain the gains of the initiative, these health caregivers converged to map out strategies for sustenance of the approach. Issues bordering on inadequate health personnel, medical equipment, and poor infrastructure, they say, are some of the factors hampering the effect of the scheme in some communities.
If we give the primary health care the enabling environment, the infrastructure, the human resource for health, the financing, the training and what have you, definitely it will curtail and reduce the burden at the secondary and the tertiary health care.
This is a paradigm shift from what used to be before, where funding goes to the top, and before it trickles down to those at the grassroots, most of the funds have been used for other purposes. But here, more than 90% of the funding goes directly to the health facilities that deliver this service.
The initiative is being implemented in 101 local government areas across 8 states, in which there are 1,036 wards, with 2,001 functional primary health care centers, which is an average of 2 functional primary health care per ward. Borno and Yobe states are expected to engage all their local government areas in health facilities that meet the selection criteria for adequate support. Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
And Ogochukuka on standby in Benin is next on Nationwide.
Thank you, Awa. Thank you for joining us. Some religious leaders in Edo State are towing the same line with the federal government and other Nigerians in appealing to Nigerians to have a rethink as it concerns the xenophobic attacks of Nigerians in South Africa. Ivy Omori reports.
2 wrongs cannot make a right is the message of these religious leaders to Nigerians attacking South Africa's interest and investments in the nation.
This is exactly what happened in Nigeria that caused the Nigerian Civil War. Because there was no room for dialogue, there was no room to discuss it over. They took the laws into their hands, and there was wanton destruction of lives and property. That should not happen a second time. Let there be peace.
For them, retaliating is the wrong way to go, as they appealed to Nigerians to let go of grudges there might be and allow the government to handle the situation.
For now, I will tell Nigerians, please, that is not the answer. Now that government is sitting up to address the issues, let's give government the opportunity to trash the issues.
When you are destroying the South African properties here, you are rendering Nigerians, even increasing the rate of unemployment. So I think the best way, what we have to do is to use diplomacy and wisdom in tackling these issues.
Their collective message is for Nigerians to be united in building a strong nation where the urge for its citizens to migrate to other countries would reduce. In Benin, Ivie Omoyi, NTA News.
Ondo State government has trained pharmacists in the public and private health institutions on essential drug management. This is to curb cases of fake and counterfeit drugs and ensure effective healthcare delivery in the state. Abiola Ario reports.
The training is aimed at exposing pharmacists to the modern trends in drugs management to ensure they are safe, available and affordable. The pharmacists were trained on the best practices in drug management for the overall goal of achieving effective healthcare delivery in the state.
People are well trained on how to dispense drug, how to store drug, how to procure drugs. Then there will be a drastic reduction in fake and counterfeit drugs.
We have TruScan in Ondo states that monitor the quality of drugs. It's a screening process really, but then it's a pointer to the potency of the drug.
State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Wahab Adegbero, says the state government will continue to be proactive to ensure that drugs are effectively managed and safe for consumption.
Pharmacists and pharmacy technicians are in charge in our various facilities. So there is the urgent need to train and retrain them so that they can be on the top of their job.
Essential drugs, according to World Health Organization, WHO, contain medications considered to be safe and effective in a health system. In Akure, Abiola Rio, NTA News.
Delta State is among the 30 states across the country to assess the matching grants by the Universal Basic Education Board in 2018, having fulfilled its own counterpart funds. The wife of the governor, Dame Edith Okowa, has therefore challenged the teachers and school authorities to effective utilization of the facilities and educational materials provided from the funds for quality education. Ngozi Mokwede witnessed the distribution of the materials to schools in the state.
The funds accruing to the state has been deployed in the purchase of vehicles, motorcycles to enhance proper supervision of schools in rural areas. Other facilities include computers, power generating sets, solar panels, inverters, and laboratory equipment, among others. This is a fulfillment of the mandate of the roadmap to sustain quality assurance for 2015 to 2020 through the state counterpart funding. The wife of the governor, Dame Edith Okowa, therefore challenged the teachers to be committed and make judicious use of the facilities.
If the way we teach now was the way we were taught, I don't know if we'll be able to write our names. Head teachers, go back to your school and think of what I'm talking about. You see why it's so dangerous to do what we are doing? Is that when these children are not well properly brought up, you and I are in danger.
The distribution of the materials and equipment were witnessed by the State Ministry of Basic Education, the Secretary to the State Government, and the State Universal Basic Education Board.
What we are doing is providing instructional materials for learning to be effective in the schools.
Items were distributed to all 25 local government areas of the state. In Asaba, Ngozi Mokwede, NTA News.
And that's it from here. The news continues in Abuja.
Many thanks, Ogochukwuka. Meanwhile, wife of the Vice President, Dolapo Oshimbaju, is advocating regular tree planting exercise to conserve the environment from climate change. She was speaking at a symposium to commemorate the 80th birthday of a foremost environmentalist, Chief Giwa B.C. Rodikpe, in Ijebu-Ode. Lukman Adefeso reports that the governor of Ogun State, Prince Dakpo Abiodun, was among guests at the event.
Green environment provides a wide range of economic, social, and health benefits to its inhabitants. It also provides renewable energy and efficient building products. This is why the world canvasses the importance of tree planting for sustainable environment. in celebration of one of nature's lovers, wife of the Vice President, Dolakbo Shibaju, joined other well-meaning Nigerians to appreciate the octogenarian, Chief Giwa Bisi Rodipe, whom she described as an icon in the preservation of forestry in Nigeria.
He's a very special man, but because it is very rare to find one person that has planted millions and millions of trees. Because Baba, by what he does, he teaches us patience. A person that is not patient cannot plant a tree.
Governor of Ogun State, Dapo Abiodun, while congratulating the celebrant, suggested that a policy framework be put in place to enhance government developmental projects on forestation in the state.
Papa's life is a lesson to all of us. We should key into this kind of ideal and see how can we make a difference.
The event, which had as a theme sustainable forest resources, management of the nation, also harped on proper management of Nigeria's forest reserves.
And Abubakar is next in our Maiduguri Network Center. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you too, Hawa, and thank you for joining us in Maiduguri. Community, traditional and religious leaders in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, have advised citizens not to take laws into their hands, rather obey constituted authority in order to live in peace and harmony. They made the appeal against reprisals as a reaction to recent xenophobic attacks on Nigerians in Johannesburg and some cities of South Africa. Yagum Subukar has the rest of the story.
This is not the first time Nigerians, other Africans and foreigners in South Africa are being violated in a series of attacks identified as xenophobic, which led to the loss of lives and significant destruction of properties, as well as looting. The recent backlash began after a flare-up of xenophobic violence against the immigrants and foreign businesses in South Africa. However, in retaliation to the attacks on Nigerians, violence and looting erupted in some parts of the country against South African-owned businesses, a situation stakeholders in Maiduguri condemned in totality.
The way the president took the issue is the most appropriate one, by sending emissaries to discuss with South Africa.
Our youth should teach the world that being patient and understanding pace rather than being violent.
Two wrongs do not make a right. They have forgotten the role played by Nigeria as a frontline state during the fight against apartheid.
According to them, the need for peaceful coexistence should be maintained as no nation develops where there is violence.
The word of God again tells us, even if there is such need for vengeance, we should allow the government to do that.
Islam condemns any act of attack on people, not even reprisal attack.
The stakeholders unanimously harped on need for intensified prayers for peace to prevail in the country. In Maiduguri, Yagum Subukar, NTA News.
Theatre Command Operation Lafia Dole has apprehended and destroyed 4 vehicles loaded with logistics meant for Boko Haram insurgents in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. This, according to the Theatre Commander Operation Lafia Dole, Major General Olusegun Adeniyi, is part of efforts to cripple the economy of the terrorists and prevent them from conducting their nefarious activities. Jesse Tafida will now tell us more.
Major General Olusegun Adeniyi said the 4 vehicles were apprehended by troops of Operation Lafia Dole in the ongoing slaughter against insurgency. He noted that the vehicles contained food and non-food items to include bread, mats, spare parts of motorcycles, as well as diesel meant to be delivered to Boko Haram insurgents but intercepted by troops of Operation Lafia Dole.
The anti-Boko Haram logistic warfare going on will not abate. We will not be tired. We will do our best to ensure we strangulate Boko Haram, not only by exchanging fire, but logistically.
The theatre commander warned all fueling stations to avoid selling up to 250 liters of petrol to motorists, as the command will not spare anyone found wanting. Major General Adeniyi then called on the public to assist the army with relevant information on activities of Boko Haram, adding that all hands must be on deck to ensure safety for all. In Maiduguri, Jesse Tafida, NTA News.
Why are children the main target of rape? How can we be helpful to rape victims? And what is the punishment for pedophiles? With sexual violations on the increase, this and many questions called for answer at the sensitization program organized by Save a Child Mission held in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. Pauline Kujevana completes the rest of the story.
Rape is a rising social ill, most times targeting children, leaving most of them with critical conditions and mental breakdown, in some cases leading to the death of the victims. Worried by this ugly trend, Save a Child Mission gathers stakeholders and mothers to give answers to the questions as well as agitation for a bill to be passed for unavoidable punishment to pedophiles.
I saw a man of 70 years rape a girl of 10 years because she was from a poor background family. Nobody take action on that. At the end of the day, she passed away. She now said that I am ready to sacrifice my life, even though I will die. Let me save my sisters, my aunties, my mothers.
Drivers against rape to include National Orientation Agency, Complete Care and Aid, as well as AG Yaro Foundations, among other speakers, lauded the initiative and pledged to collaborate with the mission towards curtailing the menace.
The women that we invited, most of them are in the community and the grassroots. They are not well enlightened, but they came here, and with this program, they are well enlightened.
There's going to be also step-down talks into the larger society. At the end of the day, these evils that refuse to really leave our society, the evils of rape, will in no distance will be over.
Barrister Aisha Alkali Walkin charged the women to speak up and condemn act of rape against their children or neighbors for justice to be done. In Maiduguri, Pauline Kujevana, NTA News.
You're watching Nationwide on the NTA. Time now to take a break to bring you more reports shortly.
Digital studio equipment is a critical aspect of modern television that requires special skills for their operation and maintenance. These skills define the content and output of television and are acquired only through professional training and experience. NTA TV College JOS is organizing a special 4-week intensive course on digital studio equipment maintenance for engineers and technical officers in public and private television stations. The course will equip participants with modern techniques, technologies, and skills for effective and efficient operation and maintenance of digital studio equipment. Also, a special 4-week course on intermediate photojournalism and photography will run simultaneously. It is an essential course for photojournalists, photographers, public relations, and information officers to upscale their skills and capacities in photojournalism. Participants will be equipped with modern skills in photo editing, studio, and outdoor lighting, and more in just a few weeks. The venue for both courses is the serene and secure environment of NTA TV College, near Old Government House, Rayfield, Jos. Date 16 September to 11th October 2019. Course fee 100,000 naira only per participant. Accommodation inclusive. For more inquiries, please call 0803-314-4383 or 0806-980-9807.
Thanks for rejoining us. The federal government has reaffirmed its commitment towards providing the counterpart funding on all agreements reached with the People's Republic of China for the provision of critical infrastructure that will enhance the livelihood of Nigerians. President Muhammadu Buhari stated these while receiving in audience a special envoy of the Chinese leader, President Xi Jinping. Details of the report will be brought to you in our subsequent bulletins. And that's Nationwide this Thursday. We thank you for being part of it. Good evening.